Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete here, and welcome to another episode of my horror debate series that I collaborate with my good buddy Carlin. As you know, we debate a wide array of topics in the horror genre, so after you watch this video, you can go to his channel, have a link in the description down below. Watch his video with the same title, and then if you'd like, you can go to the community tab on his page and vote for who you thought had the better argument. Me, him, and there's also a tie option. Also, please let us know what your stance on this topic is in the comments down below. We both read all comments. I reply to everybody. I love talking to people about horror. And these are just opinions. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. It's cool that we all like and dislike different things. So it's really fun. So for this video, we're actually going to discuss what is the best PG-13 horror movie. What makes a good PG-13 horror movie? I think it needs to have tension and atmosphere of a horror film. It needs to feel like an actual horror film. It needs to have some good scares while maintaining, the imagination of the film. PG-13 really can do lots of gore or violence. But if the movie can spark your imagination as to what these horrors are, I think it could be very effective. There needs to be some good character development in these with people that a young audience can relate to. The characters in the movie have to be relatable. Now, I didn't want to just pick a great PG-13 horror movie for adults. I wanted to pick a movie that I watched at, in that teenage, that was an introduction into horror for a young Uncle Pete. And I selected The Gate that came out in 1987. I think this movie has great storytelling. That's why I think it's one of the best PG-13 horror movies. It's got a unique kind of a original storyline that revolves around a group of kids who accidentally open a gate to another dimension, unleashing supernatural forces. I think this premise really blends very well horror, fantasy, adventure, and I think that can be very much appealing to a wider audience. I think the characters in the Gate have great character development. They're relatable. They're well developed, and I think they really work well together. The chemistry they have, their interactions, like the growth that they have, their development, their struggles. I think it makes you emotionally invested in what these kids are experiencing it. And when you're emotionally invested, I think that enhances that kind of fear you can feel when they're facing something dangerous. And I think all the characters in The Gate are very much relatable. In the 80s, for us old people, all of the people, new people like Stephen Dorff's character, the nerdy kid and an older sister with bratty friends. I have an older sister, and she had friends like that. So I just found the character in this movie very relatable when I was that age in the 80s. I definitely think this movie has effective scares despite the rating of PG-13. I think it creates great tense and an eerie atmosphere. They use practical effects, the pacing's really well, pretty good jump scares, and a creepy experience that I think both younger and older audiences are able to enjoy. There's comedy aspects, horror aspects, and those blend very well together. It's not just a silly story about monsters. And one of the strengths of The Gate, I think, is its ability to deliver scares without crossing into that R-rated territory. So it makes it suitable for a broader range of audiences, including teenagers, something you can watch with your kids, and families. I believe there's great creativity in The Gate. The supernatural elements, I think they're executed very well, and it doesn't go too into depth where a young audience may lose interest in the actual story. A bunch of kids accidentally open up a gate. There's not too much into the whys and the hows and stuff like that. It just happened because of this. You don't need all these backstories and stuff that you may need in an adult horror movie to keep people entertained. And I think the kids in this movie are relatable to a younger audience, as I said before, especially the brother-sister relationship in the movie. Like I said, having an older sister, I think it's an accurate representation of the sibling relationship without becoming cliche. Like, okay, they kind of bicker, they don't like each other, but in the long run, they are going to be there to protect each other. And the movie's got nostalgia factor for me. I think if you grew up in the 80s, The Gate played on cable all the time. And I think it gives that sense of nostalgia to an older audience, which is why I believe it's really appealing to older people and younger people as well. I mean, I'm not going to say it's timeless, but because these kids aren't using cell phones and technology and stuff, but it's still relatable today's age. It's not so far back in time where teenagers today would read and say, I don't understand any of that stuff. That's still very relatable. I think it's got pretty cool visual effects. You know, the film doesn't have a huge budget to use elaborate CGI. This was 1987. You know, CGI wasn't used as it is nowadays. But the practical effects to create the demonic creature and other supernatural elements are really impressive. I still get creeped out when he opens up in his hand and the eyeball went and he stabs it. I think it's pretty effective. I like that one, and I think the effects continue to hold up for viewers today. There are great themes in this movie. It explores themes of friendship, bravery, overcoming adversity, which again are going to be relatable to young viewers. And these themes can help elevate the film just beyond its horror elements. And that's why I think it's a great introduction to horror for a younger audience. Good horror movies often explore deeper themes and subtext, such as the loss of a loved one, personal anxieties, internal fears. I think it adds depth to the story and can make it more thought-provoking. You know, young Stephen Dorff in this movie does a great job in it. I think he carries the weight of it very well. Glenn and Terry have great chemistry, and they really feel like buddies. Again, I want to keep going back to it. When you can relate to a movie as a kid, it's going to make you enjoy it very well. Now, just to close things up, I think The Gate is an excellent PG-13 horror movie. For me, it's my favorite. I think it's the best. But because I think it has an excellent blend of horror and comedy without leaning too far into either side. Now, and I think it's a great introduction. If you want to introduce a young teenager into horror, this is a great choice. It's not too scary, but there are some elements where they're going to be just a little scared, but not enough where they're having nightmares screaming at night. And I think it's very appealing. Characters are relatable, good special effects, kind of timeless. It still can apply today's society. You know, with kids today, I think they can find it somewhat relatable because of the friendship, brother sistering, relationships and stuff like that. It's really well, and I think this movie is one of the best PG-13 horror movies that is great for audiences, young and old. So, thanks for watching. Now, please go to Carl's channel, link in the description below. Watch the video, and if you like, you can go to the community tab on his page. Vote for who you had the better argument. Don't forget to let us know what you think the best PG-13 horror movie is in the comments down below so we can talk about that. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just opinions. We're all allowed to have them, and it's great that we all share our love for horror movies. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you here on Friday for another episode of my Nails in a Coffin series, which is a lot of fun. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I really much appreciate it. And I'll see you here in 2 weeks for another episode of my debate series with Carlin. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.